Okay, welcome back to the deep dive. We know you're busy. You want the key info without all the fluff.
Exactly, and that's what we aim to do here.
So today, we're digging into the Tech Control Alt+Read newsletter. This is the April 30th, 2025 edition, number 6.
Right. And the headline, I mean, you can't miss it. Amazon's Project Kuiper.
Yeah, they actually launched the first satellites, 27 of them.
27, yeah. Up in orbit now. It's the real start of their massive $10 billion plan.
$10 billion. Wow. And the goal is global internet, right?
Global high-speed, low-latency internet using 3,236 LEO satellites, low Earth orbit.
So closer to Earth, less lag time. Makes sense.
Precisely. They're really talking about affordable access, too, bridging that digital divide.
Okay, affordable's good. When can people actually sign up?
They're aiming for a customer launch later this year, 2025. And get this, the consumer terminals, under $400.
Under $400. That's pretty aggressive for satellite gear.
It is. It positions them really broadly at consumers, businesses, even defense sectors.
So taking on the existing players directly. A big infrastructure play for Amazon.
Huge. Definitely one to watch.
All right, so beyond Amazon reaching for the stars, what else stood out in the newsletter? Let's talk startups and VCs, maybe?
Yeah. Definitely some movement there. 𝐓𝐞𝐜𝐡, the equity management platform.
Oh, big name.
They're making a noticeable pivot towards private equity.
Oh, interesting. Why is that, you think? Cooling VC market.
That's likely the driver, yeah. The traditional VC scene is a bit cooler, so companies are, exploring other options.
Makes sense. Adapt.
Yeah.
And speaking of funding, that XAI round is enormous.
Oh, absolutely massive. I reported $6 billion. That makes it the second largest private funding round ever, I believe.
$6 billion. Just underscores the incredible hype and investment pouring into AI right now.
For sure. You have to wonder what specific things they're working on to pull in that kind of cash.
Definitely. Now, what are the earlier stage? Any good news for startups just getting going?
Yeah, FPV Ventures, they're early backers of Canva, remember?
Right.
They just raised $525 million for early stage investments. So there's still serious money out there for promising ideas.
Good to hear. Shows confidence.
And there's also a new VC firm, CIV. They launched with a $210 million fund, which was actually oversubscribed.
Oversubscribed. Nice. What's their focus?
Really foundational stuff. Manufacturing, energy, infrastructure, startups, sectors that maybe don't always get the spotlight but are critical.
Yeah, that's important investment. And Supabase, another big round there, and something about vibe coding.
Right. Supabase secured $200 million, hitting a $2 billion valuation. And this was just 7 months after their last round.
Wow, fast growth. What is vibe coding?
It's this fascinating idea where people who aren't programmers can basically describe the software they want, the vibe.
And AI helps build it.
Exactly. It's all about making software development more accessible. Clearly, investors are, vibing with it.
Okay. Got it. Let's pivot then. Acquisitions, IPOs, corporate strategy stuff, DoorDash and Deliveroo.
Yeah, that's a big one. DoorDash putting in a $3.6 billion offer for UK-based Deliveroo.
Pure global expansion play, right? Food delivery wars continue.
Absolutely. Consolidation is the name of the game there. Could really shake up the market if it goes through.
And we're seeing more M&A in cybersecurity and observability, too.
Yes. Palo Alto Networks is buying Protect AI. That's all about securing AI systems, which is becoming, increasingly vital.
Makes sense. More AI means more to protect.
And Datadog acquired Metaplane. They do AI-driven observability, basically using AI to monitor complex software systems better.
So AI watching the AI, almost.
Sort of, yeah. Watching the whole complex digital infrastructure.
Okay. And IPOs seems like India is heating up.
Definitely seeing activity there. Flipkart's reportedly planning to move its HQ to India.
Usually a sign they're prepping for an IPO, right?
Often, yes.
Yeah.
And Erdin Company, also based in India, has actually submitted draft docs for a $223 million IPO.
So strong signs from the Indian tech scene. Now, this next one sounds wild. Chrome potentially being acquired.
It's a huge hypothetical, yeah. The newsletter mentions OpenAI and Yahoo are names being floated as potential buyers if Google were forced to sell Chrome.
Wow. I mean, the downstream effects of that, hard to even imagine.
Completely reshaped the browser market, the web, everything.
And a quick strategy shift from Intel.
Yeah, they decided not to spin out Intel Capital after all. They're keeping it in-house.
Suggests a change in how they want to manage investments and innovation, maybe?
Could be. And one more on this front. Flex bought Maza, an A16s-backed fintech.
Ah, more fintech M&A. Seems to be a trend.
Yeah, pointing towards more consolidation in that space, too.
Okay, let's dive into AI itself. It's everywhere. What's new from OpenAI?
Well, they launched a lightweight ChatGPT research tool, probably to help researchers experiment more easily.
Okay, fostering the ecosystem.
And they've added shopping features into search results, so moving beyond just answering questions.
Interesting. Competing more with traditional search and e-commerce.
Looks that way. And Hugging Face is doing something cool on the hardware side.
Oh, yeah.
A 3D printed robotic arm starts at just $100.
$100. Seriously.
Yeah.
That makes robotics way more accessible.
Massively democratizing, right? For education, research, hobbyists.
Definitely. And xAI's Grok chatbot is getting smarter, more senses.
Yeah, multimodal capability, so it can understand images, visual data, not just text.
Makes it a lot more versatile.
Huge potential expansion of what it can do.
And good news for open source AI fans with Alibaba's latest.
Yep, they released Qwen 3. It's a new family of open source models. They're talking about hybrid reasoning.
Hybrid reasoning, like combining different AI approaches.
Essentially, yeah. More options for developers building on open source. Good for innovation.
It feels like we're also starting to focus more on, like, understanding these AIs better.
Absolutely crucial. Anthropic's actually launching a program to study model welfare.
Model welfare, like how the AI is doing.
Kind of, yeah. Understanding their behavior, potential risks. Their CEO wants to really understand them by 2027.
Tall order, probably.
For sure. And then there's that vibe coding from Adaptive Computer we mentioned earlier.
Right. Letting non-coders create software just by describing it.
Yeah.
Powered by AI.
Revolutionary potential there, if it works well.
Okay, let's shift gears again. General tech, apps. The transforming electric vehicle sounds neat.
Yeah, Slate Auto. Backed by Jeff Bezos, they unveiled a $25,000 EV.
And it changes shape.
Between a pickup and an SUV, using modular kits. Very novel concept.
Interesting. Flexibility. And Uber's pushing ahead with self-driving.
Yep, the CEO is leading the charge, expanding their Waymo partnership in Austin and Atlanta.
So still betting big on autonomous, despite the challenges.
Seems so. Continued investment there.
And Meta's Threads platform got some updates. New domain.
Yeah, move from threads.net to threads.com. Makes more sense.
And new features, too.
Customizable columns, a floating post composer, sharing posts as images. Just trying to improve the user experience, make it stickier.
And Adobe. More AI image stuff.
New Firefly models, yeah. And a redesigned web interface. They're constantly iterating on those creative AI tools.
Keeps getting better. Okay, what about the cloud? The underpinning for so much of this.
Right. Well, BNP Paribas, the big bank, is expanding its use of IBM Cloud significantly.
Dedicated data center space even, by 2028.
Exactly. Shows how much major players rely on robust cloud infrastructure.
And AI models themselves are getting more cloud connected.
Yeah, OpenAI wants its models to be able to call other external cloud-based models.
Like AI models collaborating.
Potentially, yeah. More interoperability, wider capabilities.
And AWS and Anthropic are getting cozier.
Deepening their collaboration, yeah. Making Anthropic's advanced models more accessible on AWS. Good for generative AI development.
The demand for AI compute must be just astronomical.
Oh, completely. Experts are saying building a top-tier AI data center could cost $200 billion within 6 years.
$200 billion.
Just staggering numbers. And you see companies responding. Adani's boosting their data center investment by $10 billion, specifically for AI demand.
Wow. Okay, security. Always critical. What's the latest there?
Well, Senemia raised $37 million. They do an AI-powered virtual CISO platform.
So AI helping with security strategy and management.
That's the idea, using AI to bolster defenses.
But the threats keep coming, right? WordPress plugin issue.
Yeah, nasty one. A plugin pretending to be a security tool is actually injecting backdoors. Always need to be careful.
And big organizations getting hit, too.
Unfortunately, yes. Marks & Spencer had an incident disrupting online orders.
Oh, wow.
And Yale New Haven Health disclosed a breach affecting 5.5 million people, unauthorized network access back in March.
5.5 million. That's massive.
Yeah.
Privacy implications are huge.
Huge. On a slightly brighter note, WhatsApp is rolling out a private processing feature.
Aimed at what?
Enhancing AI features within WhatsApp while keeping user data private on the device, trying to balance utility and privacy.
Gives you focus on that. All right, let's talk hardware. Chips, semiconductors. IBM's investing big in the U.S.
Very big. $150 billion over 5 years in U.S. operations.
$150 billion. What's that covering?
Over $30 billion is earmarked for mainframes, quantum computing research, and manufacturing. A major commitment to domestic tech.
Definitely. And Huawei. Still pushing on AI chips.
Yeah, they're developing the Ascend 910D chip, continuing their AI hardware ambitions.
More competition in that crucial market.
Mm.
And TSMC's roadmap.
They're planning to start producing their next-gen A14 chip tech in 2028, so looking ahead to even more powerful chips.
The pace just doesn't stop. We're also seeing supply chain shifts, like with Apple.
That's right. Apple is apparently moving to make a majority of iPhones for the U.S. market in India.
Wow, that's a significant diversification away from China.
Big move, likely about resilience, reducing dependency.
And something about carbon removal tech. Repair carbon.
Yeah, interesting innovation. They're
Yes.
using machines inspired by battery tech for direct air capture of CO2. More efficient, potentially.
Cool. Tech tackling climate change. Okay, Fintech. Always moving fast. What's new?
Lots happening. Volution launched a new $100 million fund with SBI investment, targeting UK fintech, AI, and SaaS.
Supporting the UK scene.
Yep. And Revolut had a huge year, reported a record $1 billion profit in 2024.
$1 billion in profit. Milestone for them.
Definitely. PayPal's trying to boost its stablecoin, PYUSD, offering a yield like interest on balances,
Right.
3.7%.
Trying to incentivize usage.
Yeah.
And Circle's working on cross-border payments with stablecoins.
But a stablecoin-powered network, trying to make international payments smoother.
And a big new Bitcoin investment firm.
Right. Cantor Fitzgerald, partnering with Tether, SoftBank, and Bitfinex, launching a $3.6 billion Bitcoin investment firm called 21 Capital.
Heavy hitters involved there. And we saw that Flex Mazda deal earlier, too.
Exactly. That acquisition, backed by 𝐓𝐞𝐜𝐡, just reinforces that trend of fintech M&A picking up.
It seems like a busy time for conferences, too.
Yeah.
Lots of places for people to connect.
Oh, yeah. The newsletter was packed. Recently, you had NY FinTech Week, Money 2020 Asia, Tech and National Security,
Learning Tech, Semaphore World Economy Summit.
EU Startup Summit, Web Summit Rio, Intel Foundry Direct Connect.
Yeah.
All just happened or ongoing.
And looking ahead.
Still more. RSAC 2025, Wave Summit, IBM Think 2025, IACP Tech Conference, AI Community Conference in Boston, Microsoft 365 Community Conference.
Oracle Cloud World Tour NYC, TechNet Cyber, Tech SBO San Diego. The list goes on. Lots of opportunities to learn and network.
Absolutely.
And for those who prefer listening, like you listening now, some relevant podcast episodes were highlighted too.
Yeah, a few good ones. 𝐓𝐶 𝐍 had an episode on a surgeon-turned-biotech CEO.
Okay.
This Week in Startups talked about Bitensor, Meta's Llama, AI writing code.
TechCrunch discussed retail investors in secondaries and delayed IPOs.
Y Combinator had one on vibe coding with Tom Blumfield.
Vibe coding again?
And 20VC featured Tavit Henricos talking about multi-stage funds and seed rounds, so lots of deep dives available there too.
Great recommendations. Okay, finally, before we wrap, let's do our tech tip of the week.
All right.
This one's for anyone like me who ends up with way too many browser tabs open. It happens, right?
Guilty as charged. What's the tip?
Okay, so simple shortcuts. On Windows, hit Ctrl plus a number like Ctrl+1, Ctrl+2 to jump straight to that numbered tab.
Ah, nice. Instead of clicking.
Exactly. And Ctrl+Tab cycles through them in order.
Okay. What about Mac users?
Same idea. Just use Command instead of Ctrl. So Command +1, 2, 3 for specific tabs. Command +Tab to cycle through.
Simple, but genuinely useful. Could save a few clicks, maybe some sanity.
Totally. Little things add up.
Right.
So that pretty much covers our deep dive into this edition of the Tech Ctrl+Alt+Read newsletter, April 30th, 2025.
A lot packed in there. But that Amazon Project Kuiper launch really feels like the big headline.
It does. Launching those first satellites, it makes that $10 billion vision feel much more real. The potential impact on global connectivity is just immense.
Yeah, think about remote areas, education, disaster relief. It opens up so many possibilities if they deliver on that affordable access promise.
Definitely something to keep a close eye on. We hope digging into these highlights gave you some useful insights.
Yeah, hopefully sparked some ideas or pointed you towards areas you want to explore further.
And that brings us to our final thought. With all this rapid change, AI, cloud, hardware, even just managing browser tabs,
Yeah.
what seemingly small innovation or trend happening today do you think might actually have the biggest, maybe unexpected impact down the road?
That's a good one. Food for thought.
Definitely something to ponder. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.
See you next time.